Live.
Happy last day of Pride.
Happy last day of Pride
I
and
hate
day
it.
before our birth month.
Ugh.
Oh,
No, okay,
what was
I, we have been, we have been struggling to map out July because July is a mess,
yes.
and and you would think that I would remember my birthday, but like last week I was out walking with my friend,
Hmm.
and I was talking about all the things I'm doing next week, and then I
Yes.
was like, yeah, and then that ends on Friday, which is And then I'm like, and then Saturday is the 6th. Wait a minute, does that mean my birthday is on Sunday? And he's like, yes,
Yes.
yes, your birthday is on Sunday. And I did resist the urge to lay down on the ground, but I did kind of hang myself over one of those like roadblock thingies for a little while and just dangled there for a bit because I forgot.
I would like the record to state that Corolla's birthday is in all of my planners.
Your birthday is in all of my planners, all two of them.
Look at us being gay again.
Oh no.
And
Gayness on the Yaoi Shelf?
what on
During
earth
Pride Month?
during the last day of Pride?
Oh my
So
god.
hello and welcome. We are here to discuss our most recent episode on naming conventions in queer media.
Whew.
Um, I had a great time with this topic. It definitely uncovered some things that I feel like we've talked about in the past, but never really got to like hammer down. So I'm very, very thrilled about having some more space to discuss this. I also think it's been interesting that this really became a topic that became very much about author intentionality, which is something that Corolla and I famously love talking about in reference to everyone but ourselves.
Yeah. Yep. We are very good at talking about our own writing careers.
We're so good at
Our
it.
favorite
It's
subject.
our favorite thing to talk about us as writers.
Which is why I'm very proud of the Patreon episode that we did this month.
I
Because
am
that was
too.
good. Like we did well. I've never
Our
been
page,
so articulate about my
and it
writing.
will never happen again.
No. So if you want to hear us talk, well and
Mhm.
properly and like wisely about our own authorial intent, please
Yeah,
listen to the Patreon app.
absolutely. I definitely agree. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the episode, please feel free to leave them in chat. But I had a great time talking about it. I think the big thing for me that I am forced to remember about this whole conversation is how much this does not necessarily reflect how we always did things.
Mm.
I think that's very fascinating to me. Um, because it used to just basically be yaoi versus shonen ai. Like we didn't even have some of these other categories.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm having war flashbacks.
More flashbacks.
And just being like, because my brain is now hardwired to, people, whenever I hear like people say things like Yaoi versus Shonen, I'm like, it's all BL, and I just want to go, I just want to pop off and do my spiel. But yeah, but back in the day, we didn't, we
Back in the
didn't
day.
know, we didn't know anything. And then there was Slash,
And then there
which,
was Slash.
and then there was Slash, and I didn't go there.
I did.
Yeah, you did. You and your superheroes and your supernaturals and your Western.
Oh, I don't know if you saw this in Discord, but I mentioned the Viva La Bam fanfic tag on AO3 on my
Oh
literature
no.
show.
No, I missed it. Thank God.
Yeah, it
I
came from my literature show.
No, but did you see though? Because I was just peacefully. That is a lie because my Twitter feed has been a fucking dumpster fire all week
Mhm.
to the point where not even I can stand it. Like I haven't even been on the internet because it's just been destroying my life. But there I was opening Twitter and just I hadn't even scrolled like more than like a little couple of tweets down, and
Mhm.
then some person on the internet has
Mhm.
written and posted a fanfic based on that presidential election debate. And I just had to see the tags, but I'm like, that is enough internet for the rest of the year. Thank you very much. And
I'm
why?
not shocked.
And to the people, multiple people who I follow who have retweeted this screenshot, a sincere fuck you to my friends for making me have to see this repeatedly.
I didn't.
Oh, lucky you. Well, I mean, I didn't share it.
Yeah, I have this is new information to me.
Oh, I wish I
I've
was you.
I've been on my smut Twitter just being busy with fictional men.
I want to be busy with fictional men, but like my both my Twitter accounts are just like they've just imploded. And the one, the messy one that
Yes.
yeah, that one is split into four, and they are live action Thai BL actor drama.
Yes.
Figure skating is actually hell drama.
Yes.
Rowling is evil, and then the US is
Yes.
going to hell. Those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse of my Twitter feed, and this is all that is on my Twitter.
None of those things are inaccurate though.
It is horrific.
It is.
I just want to look at men kissing. It is.
I have been spending my free time on TikTok looking at House of the Dragon edits.
Have you?
I have.
Is it nice? Have you been enjoying it?
I mean, it's a bunch of problematic blonde men. I'm in heaven. It's a bunch of horrible, murderous, problematic blonde men. This is literally a show written for me.
Yeah, sounds like you. Sounds like you're kind of.
I'm having a great time.
I'm glad you're having a great time.
I
wish I was having a good time.
But I think one thing that I was interested in that came up a lot was author intentionality in this, because I feel like there was no way to have this conversation without talking about author intentionality. Hello,
welcome.
There was no way to have this conversation without talking about author intentionality, but I think how much of it came up was really, really interesting, because I think sometimes we forget that writers have a choice when they label themselves and when they label, their works. And sometimes they don't, but increasingly they do. So I was really, really fascinated by how much the conversation turned into author intentionality and the xenophobia and the racism that comes with some of these very intentional
Yes.
I say that because we did get a little bump in views because Dr. Thomas shared our video again. So it's people coming back to that fetishization conversation, which, hello, welcome, thank you. But yeah, it's that whole conversation again about like, things from Asia being inherently fetishistic and gross, and Western creators over here producing only the finest of representational queer content with no brown characters at all. I'm just saying.
What you can't be a double minority, Amanda.
You cannot. I did not remember.
That's but you're fair. Here now.
Yes, it's okay, but you're here, and that's what matters.
You're here. We're just getting started. It's
like you can't be a double minority. I guess I just need to fling myself into the sun.
Yeah, it's like they're over there like they're like, no, we can't have a protagonist who's both gay and
brown.
Like insert any other minority here. That doesn't. You can't do that.
No, that doesn't fly. They have to be one or the other. And I'm fascinated by that because I think, especially me coming from the fanfic, end of it, I really take for granted how much agency I have over my own work. If I don't want to publish something, I don't. If I don't want to respond to a comment with dignity, I don't. If I don't want to... If I do not want to respond to a comment with any dignity, I don't have to. It's AO3. No one's going to make me. And I think I take for granted that fact that I get to label myself, because I would feel very uncomfortable if someone tried to say like my Jason Todd Dick Grayson fanfic was like queer MLM romance. I would feel very uncomfortable with that title.
Yeah. I was just, I was just, yeah. No, I know what you're saying because it's like, if someone labels my work as
Mm-hmm.
MLM romance, like, I mean, you're not wrong. It is a men loving men
It is.
romance,
Yep.
but the question is, are you presenting my novel in your review as an MLM romance novel
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want your audience to perceive you as someone reading filthy fetishistic Asian content? Like, what is,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that negative connotation, I think, especially coming from the older guard, is still so fascinating to you. Because if anything, back in our day, a bunch of gay romance novels written by mostly straight people would have been lampooned. We wouldn't have given that any play at all. So I think it's fascinating to watch that turn
Mm.
from now, it's us over in the Yaoi BL camp that are gross and fetishistic versus these mostly random assorted white women who decided they wanted to write a gay story once.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. We were trying so hard.
Tired.
We were trying so hard not to just be like overtly shady in the episode, and we failed miserably because
But it's hard because,
it is
like I
hard.
said, sometimes I'm just a petty bitch. But
Same.
also, it's just, I'm so tired of these debates, whether that is media is hurting our children or
Mm-hmm.
regurgitates anti gay propaganda but slaps trans on top of it, or, so and
Mm-hmm.
so is fetishizing so and so community. And, it's just, I get to be shady sometimes because I'm tired. I don't want to have this conversation. I just want to read
I think
gay
most of
stuff.
us are queer anyways, just not just
Yeah.
right. Like I think that's the thing that's always amazed me, and we talked about that during the Fujin Pipeline episode, is how many of us, we said we started out as straight and cis, are not.
Surprise.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, me at 15, convinced that I was cis and straight.
Yeah, there was a time.
There was a
I was
time
I was straight once.
I was wrong,
Yeah.
but there was a time.
I don't know.
I was incorrect, but there was a time. Oh, sidebar. So, my aunt has two dogs that clearly are replacing children because I'm not in the house anymore.
You've been
Um,
replaced.
I have been replaced by two dogs,
What are their
and
names? I must know.
you know their names.
Yes.
It's Maggie and Lacey.
Oh, you sent me pictures of them, I think.
I have. I've shown.
Yes.
Yeah, Maggie is short for Magdalena because my aunt is Catholic.
Of course.
I don't think Lacey is short for anything. I think it's just Lacey. But my aunt, they have a closet, like they have clothes, they have accessories, and
For
we
the
were at this.
dogs.
Yes, for the dogs.
Okay.
And we were at a store together because they were visiting me, and there was a bunch of Pride merch for dogs, and I was like, oh, the dogs need Pride stuff. They have a bisexual, and I was like, pause, and it's like, what am I if these are your children? And she's like, oh, like they're your cousins. It's like, okay, yeah, like they have a bisexual cousin. And I was like, you're right, like they do need more Pride merch. She said more, stating that they already have Pride merch.
Oh, I need to get Sansa some Pride merch.
Sansa needs Pride merch. We need
He
to.
does, but he's just not very.
He doesn't sit and wear clothes very well.
No, he really doesn't. I think I've gotten a bow on him like once, and he was just freaking out the whole time. So
But
I don't.
I want to get him all those like cute little hats from Japan.
He would be so mad.
Perfect.
He
Even
would be
better.
so mad.
He can be mad dressed as an apple.
Why an
Even
apple?
because of Death Note.
Oh, well, it has to be. It has to be a green apple, a sour green apple, because that's what he
Ew.
is.
The least good apple.
No, those are the best. The Granny Smith apples are the
The
best.
best apple is a Fuji or a Gala.
Is that a red one?
They're pink.
Oh, I don't think we have those.
They're
But
they're 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 cunty apples.
I only like green apples. Okay,
Okay,
that is.
you are entitled to your wrong opinion, but author intentionality.
Oh, also no. While we're on the topic of off topic, this fell into my head like earlier when we were talking about the whole minority thing and how
Yes.
everyone has to be white. And I don't know, for some reason, I remembered this is an actual textbook that I had in school. Like, I cannot remember for the life of me what subject this was, but I kid you not, this book literally said there was some sort of, I think it was talking about advertisements and how in advertisements, you basically only see white people. This was probably
Mm-hmm.
social studies or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this book says, I kid you not, it's like commercials look like this because most families consist of parents and children, and parents are usually white. And I was like, what? What do you mean parents are usually white? Who wrote this?
Sidebar. So my dad passed away when I was young, and I had mentioned some. I was at work, and like someone had asked me years ago, like, "Oh, what about your parents?" And I just said, like, "No, oh my dad isn't around." Like, I don't know why I left out my mom in this instance because mom had also passed away by then. But it's like, oh, dad passed away, and or I didn't say dad passed away. I just said dad isn't around. And the first thing that this guy said was, "Oh, it's because he's in prison."
Oh my god.
And it's like, well, I understand that you'd be correct normally in assuming that a black man is away because he's in jail. No, my father died. That's why he's away.
Oh my god.
He's not incarcerated. He's entombed.
I need people to just shut up. I think we can all just like not talk sometimes.
We all could do a lot better by just like not speaking
Yeah,
sometimes.
just like no more words for you. I am letting Sansa in. I'll be right back.
Okay, Corolla has to go let the cat in. Hello, everyone. It's just me while Corolla lets the cat in. But yeah, this ended up being like a really, really interesting topic and very, very self reflexive. So if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, we would love to hear them. It ended up being really, really interesting to think about, why we put these labels on ourselves and what these labels then mean as far as like being perceived by others. I was talking about labeling.
Yeah.
Because I think the other part of it that's really, really fascinating for me is not just how we label ourselves, but how those labels then are perceived. So, like, I still nag myself every day, like, I'm not a real writer. Corolla's the real writer.
Oh.
I know.
We talked about this.
Corolla's the actual writer. I just, crank out a porn fic every once in a while.
At least you're cranking out something.
I'm trying very hard. I have all of my energy while I'm at work. And that is a line that I still don't feel comfortable crossing, is just writing smut fic in the office.
I've done that. I mean, not in an office, but I was working retail and I was writing smut behind the counter.
I mean, I've done it. I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
I've done it in the past. I don't know. Like, I guess like that's one of those like weird things. Like as I get older, it's like they don't need to know that side. Like, what if someone sees?
Ow.
Are you okay?
No, I think it just broke my arm.
It's delicate.
Oh my god.
delicate Nordic over
Who
here.
is delicate? Thumbs off, please.
But yeah, like I what I think I'm fascinated about is not just how our labels make us feel, but how those labels make other people see us.
Hmm.
Um, I'm like that too. I'll only call myself something if I'm exactly like I don't think I'm a professional writer at all, even though I've written for like ads and social media and radio and stuff like that. Like I'll say that's professional writing, but my smutty fanfic is not.
I don't. I don't even know what qualifies as like professional writing anymore. I wouldn't say like I can like I'm an author, I'm a
You
writer.
are.
Am I a
You are.
professional?
Yes.
Ugh, I don't
What
know.
was that noise?
I don't. I'm a professional procrastinator.
Same.
I'm a professional fangirl.
Same.
That's why I do this. But professional writer, I don't.
No, Corolla, you do this because we were forced into an arranged marriage years ago.
Yes, I mean when I say this, not just the podcast, just the
Yes.
whole talking about gay things and nerdy things in general.
Yes.
The
It's
whole
like, no,
circle.
Corolla, you do this because we were forced into an arranged
Yeah,
marriage years ago. That has
indeed.
been fruitful.
Very
Um,
fruitful.
but I am fascinated by it in the sense of like, I when I talk about my label and say that like, I'm just a smut peddler, I am a fanfic writer, and that I write mostly BL or in the BL space, how that makes other people react to my work. Like it's like I would feel very uncomfortable if someone looked at my work and was like, "Oh, you're writing like queer romance." And it's like, I'm writing fanfic, I'm role playing, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Like I'm not I guess because like for me especially like my goal isn't necessarily to be representative of anyone.
Mm.
Like there is such a virtue signal to me when I hear like queer romance nowadays that it's like I'm not here to represent anybody. If you find representation in my work, awesome. I mean, go to therapy, but awesome. Like,
If I could inspire you to find a therapist
yeah, if
today,
I can inspire you to
good.
find a therapist, fantastic. If you look at any of my broken, miserable ukes and we're like, this character prompted me to go see a psychologist, I've done my job.
I think that's like my life goal. At some point, if I can like live off my writing and I become like like a best-selling author with money, I will gladly help pay for your therapy bills if you find representation in my
Yeah,
novels.
if you
I will.
message me
I'll set
and
up
you're
a
like,
fund.
yeah, I will also set up a fund if you come to me saying like I really really relate to this, insert horribly broken character. It's like uh get ye to a therapist post haste.
Yeah,
But like I would struggle with that because yeah, like I'm not looking to represent anyone. I'm not looking to make a grand political statement. I'm not looking to say anything outside of how much I want to see that one twink destroyed.
which
That's the only thing I'm trying to say.
sometimes that is all you need.
Sometimes, yeah, authors need to say less,
Yeah.
and they're less likely to say something racist.
Oh my god, why are people?
And that they're not even intending to be racist most of the time. It just happens. It's like, oh, here in the West are ideologically pure representational romances and those gross fetishistic comics written over in the East.
I just I I'm so tired.
I'm also exhausted.
Like the thing is, like anyone can be a fetishizer
Yes.
and anyone can be an activist.
Yes.
And the same person can write politically charged representative stories and filthy porn.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Well, and I think for me, the issue has always been that a lot of these Western authors that love going out of their way to say how much they do representation, like, aren't actually doing anything.
Mm,
Like, is your money going to the Trevor Project? Is your money going towards helping fight legislation that harms queer people? Are you actually doing anything, or are you just saying that
yeah.
because it makes you feel better?
Are you just participating in glorified rainbow capitalism?
Right. So you can say that you're a part of this movement without actually being a part of this movement.
Yeah. And
Because as of right now, Maki Murakami has done more for queer relations in the US than most authors have.
and I just want to point out again, and I know that I have talked about this a lot, but it is really cool. First of all, I wrote a tweet about this on one of my accounts. I can't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are like me, the whole Thailand legislating same sex marriage is a bit confusing. Because, like, they announced that they had, like, they basically announced that it had been passed, but it hadn't. And then they announced it again. And then people were like, but they
Celebrating.
already, yeah, like, but they already announced it. But it's,
Yes.
because when you're passing a bill, it takes it goes through several layers and several uh like committees or whatever. So, but
Right.
now it is basically official. It isn't written into the law yet. The king has to approve it. It's a formality, and then they will write it into the actual law, and then they will announce the date from when it actually is
Mm-hmm.
when it actually passes. But the point is, BL has been, and I'm not saying that BL alone has helped pass marriage equality in Thailand, but BL
But
has
it's
been
been
a
a factor.
huge fucking part of
Yeah.
it. And, activists and production companies and actors have all banded together and been out there and been vocal about it. And the fact
Mm-hmm.
that the Thai government, together with the board for tourism, is working with Beyond Cloud on an actual BL series that is sponsored by the Thai government and is being
Yeah.
used to, like, it can do so much good. But
It
even
can.
but even if it's a series that's just, gay for the sake of being gay and horny, that doesn't make it any less, well, I mean, doesn't make it
Valid.
any less.
Yeah, like, I think that's the other big thing is that, like I mentioned multiple times, like, I'm not trying to, represent anyone in my work. That doesn't make my work any less valid just because I'm not
No.
trying to write, the next great American novel about, two fictional characters fucking each other. That doesn't make my work any less valid. It doesn't make my work any less, I don't want to say like important, but, any less what my work is. It just
Mm,
means that I'm not here in this moment, in this action, to make a statement. I do in other actions,
yeah.
but my fanfic is not how I do that.
But, and I'm also thinking, being as we are in Pride Month still, and
Mhm.
I don't know how it's been for you guys this month, but Norway certainly has had its fair share of, why do we need pride? And everyone is so tired of your fucking ideology. And it's a good thing that your flags are being burned. And, what they call the pride debate. And I have been trying to explain to people, including other queer people, that yes, pride is political,
Yes, it's always been
because
political.
it's always been political. It started as a protest. It still
Mhm.
is a protest. It's also
Mhm.
a celebration because it can be
Mhm.
both. But my identity will, like, as a queer person, is going to continue to be political until they stop trying to take my rights away,
Yes.
until they stop trying to strip the rights of my queer and trans siblings across the world. My identity is going to be political.
Exactly.
Therefore, any queer content is also inherently political in some way
Political.
or other. But
Right.
that doesn't mean it has to be explicitly pushing, any kind of political message. Like, it can be pure filth. But the point is that for that person who picks up a queer novel or a queer manga or watches, Queer as Folk for the first time in the middle of the night and sees actual same sex people making out
Not
and
queer.
having sex.
Not queer as folk.
I fucking love Queer as Folk.
I didn't say it was bad. I just It's a throwback.
No, but it's just because for I had to go out and, deliberately find it on the internet. But I have heard
Yes.
so many stories of, young queer people just switching channels in the middle of like late at night, and there
Yep.
it was, right? And
Yep.
I'm kind of jealous of that experience because I had to go out and find it. Do you know?
Yeah. No, it was really, really crazy because I think, especially like when I was growing up in the US, we had like gay characters on TV and they were all the same. They were all,
Yeah,
Jack from Will and Grace.
I knew you were
Um,
going to mention Jack.
I mean, they were all that. And
Yeah,
not that that isn't valid representation for some people, but it's not for everyone.
no,
Um, but like, we had pretty much convinced ourselves like, oh, we're good on representation. The blacks have a TV show, the
wow.
Hispanics have a TV show, the gays are mentioned occasionally.
The
Ellen
gay
DeGeneres is a thing,
the
so
gays are out there being an accessory,
yeah. The
along
gays
with
are out there,
Manolo Blahniks and
yeah. The gays
Richie.
are out there being an accessory.
The only
'Cause
accessory I want to be is no, I'm not going to say that. That would be that's for our private conversations.
this is for our side chat. Um, but
No, but there's that one episode, of Queer as Folk when Emmett
yeah.
becomes like he starts working for a TV show. He starts working as like a weatherman, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's loving him, and then someone points out to him that because you're being the quintessential acceptable asexual gay man who's just you're
Yes.
flamboyant and sweet and everyone
Yes.
loves you, but you're not a sexual being. And that is, the sanitized gay.
We support you.
We support you. Happy Pride for
Happy Pride.
a few more hours.
Yes, shut up.
I mean, honestly, every day is Pride. You can't take
Every
that from me.
day is Pride. But
Yes.
yeah, like we had told ourselves that we had done the representation. There was Static Shock on TV. The blacks had their show, the Hispanics had their show. We definitely weren't talking about anyone from Asia or the Middle East because it was the 1990s, the early 2000s. So that just didn't exist. But how little representation that was for actual people until, you could get, shows like Queer as Folk, shows like the L Word and stuff like that. I would support that. Yes, I would support that.
Sounds like your kind of religion, indeed.
I will say though, I'm always a little bit weirded out seeing like churches join pride parades, and like I'm happy that there are religious leaders that are open to that, but it does also feel a little like this is a trap. like you guys are gonna go throw rosaries at people in a minute, and
I feel like it definitely depends. Like I think I said it in the main episode because we just had the Pride book event at the library, and one of my co-panelists was Norway's first openly non-binary priest, and they are so cool. And like I feel like if they want to go and attend the parade with their church, I'm fine with that because they are
that's totally
cool
different.
Person that is different. That is not the Catholic Church being like,
that's not my local diocese being like, hello, we've changed our minds.
Those two are not the same.
Like I would be deeply concerned if my local diocese just showed up at Pride and was like, hello, yes, remember all those things that we said? We no longer believe them.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd buy into that.
Yeah, it's like, you guys are here for nefarious reasons. But I think one of the big things that came up in this conversation that I think is also super important is that divide between being a consumer and a creator, and how being a consumer now means that you are just as liable to face persecution for your choices. So like, if you go out of your way to say that you're a Yaoi or BL fan, oh, you're a gross fetishist. Um, I resist I resist extremism in every form. So I support this. I extremism in any form is something that I don't like. Um, but how even those labels don't just affect us as authors, they affect us as readers and as people in the media landscape. So like saying like go out of my way to say like, oh, I read BL, I read yaoi, like how differently that hits. Like, oh well why do you only read BL and yaoi? Why why aren't you reading insert boring novel here? That isn't Corolla's. Corolla's novel isn't boring.
Thank you. I mean, I will say I consume a lot of things. I don't only read BL. I have probably read insert boring novel.
You have.
And sometimes I'm starting to think like am I incapable of finding things that are not gay? Because the other day I went to the library and there was a book and it was about, it is a novel, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
partially based on the author's own life experience. And
Mm-hmm.
literally the only thing that says on the back is that it's like his experiences as growing up being physically abused by his dad, who's a Jehovah's
Mm-hmm.
Witness. And I'm like, oh, it's another one of these stories about, social control and cults,
Mm-hmm.
which we all know I'm not going to say I enjoy it, but I am interested in cults. I think it's fascinating. So I
Mm-hmm.
pick it up, I begin to read this novel, and lo and behold, the protagonist is gay.
Yes.
And it's like it didn't say that it was a queer book, but like everything I touch is gay. I can't
Yes.
help it. I don't I don't I don't know. Everything is gay. It was very good though. It was very good.
No, I get that sometimes too, where it's like I'll go into something and it's like, oh, I'm fine with the heterosexual representation in this, and like I'm like House of Dragon with me, where it's like I'm fine with the heterosexual relation with this. Immediately goes and finds like the gay porn. It's like, oh
Of
yes,
course.
here I am. Like like the U.S. is not as free as you think.
I am in Norway and Northern Europe, and
Yeah.
I look at the US and I'm like, help them.
Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for just popping in.
Yeah, the US is not as free as you would think it is. It depends a lot on what part of the US you're in. I'm not in one of the free parts.
You're in Texas.
I am in Texas, where there is not much freedoms from some things.
Oh my
But, I think it's fascinating that, like, even as readers, we're still brought into the conversation of, like, oh, well, I can't believe you're reading this fetishistic
God.
material. I can't because like when it's putting that onus on authors, okay, that makes sense because like there's a financial, social, emotional, whatever decision that goes into how you label yourself as an author. Uh, but as a reader, I'm fascinated by it because you start getting the whole no true Scotsman thing that happens a
Mhm.
lot in modern gay culture, where it's like, oh, well, you're not a real queer person because you don't do this. You're not a real queer person because you don't do all of these things.
Please explain to me how I am queering wrong.
Yeah, it's like please explain to me how I've been a fake queer for all of these years.
I just celebrated 15 years. 15 with my not wife, and but it's all a scam, obviously. We're
Yeah.
not actually queer.
No. No, no, no,
I'm
no, no.
doing this for the attention.
This is a phase. You'll grow
I
out of
mean,
it any day now.
the thing clearly is that, I went and picked her up to essentially be my beard so that I could excuse making gay content. Like clearly that
Yes.
is what
So,
I'm
so one
doing.
night you and your publicist were up late and you
Brave of you
said,
to assume I have a publicist.
yeah, shut up. You
I
and your
don't know her.
publicist were up late one night and you decided that you needed to be gay so you could write gay stuff.
Yeah, that was exactly how it went. God damn it! I wish I hadn't admitted this on the internet.
We can freely leave some religions. It depends on the religion. Others don't let you leave.
Yeah,
Some make you stay,
but
like
I think.
Scientology.
Oh my god! Don't talk to me about Scientology.
We can talk
No,
about
but
Scientology.
we cannot talk. We'll be here all day. I just found out a way I can watch. What's her name? Leia Remini. What's her name? She
Is
was
it,
on King of Queens.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I
Is it
found out
Lisa?
how. Yeah, I found out how I can watch her 3-season documentary on
Yes.
Scientology. I am ready. I
It
am
is
going.
Leia Remini.
Yeah, Remini. Yeah, I just wasn't sure how to pronounce it. But yeah,
I
no. But I do think that people who like I am fundamentally against religion because I come from a secular country where I don't believe in anything. But and it just all seems very stressful to me. But I am really happy for those people who are able to have their faith and
mhm.
still be the person that they are. And like we have things like organizations like we have something in Norway called Salam, which is an organization, and also Skeiv Verden, which means queer world, which is an organization for queer people, queer
Mhm.
religious people, and where you can still practice your religion, be that
Mhm.
as a Muslim or Sikh or
Mhm.
Christian, and still be queer. And if your family doesn't, accept that, then you have your family in that community. And I think that is
Right.
very beautiful for those who do believe in something. Because,
Correct.
like, I think that,
For
if the,
those that believe in something,
yes,
ma'am.
I don't believe in anything, Amanda. I believe in climate change. I believe in the supremacy of Old Shan and Maki Murakami and G. I was trying to be profound.
I,
Let me be supportive of my queer religious sibling.
my favorite thing is on TikTok they'll do the meme of like, are you patriotic? And like they'll unfurl a flag and it's like everything but the US flag. It's like Nicki Minaj or something like that. And it's like, hell yeah, I'm patriotic. And it's just like a fucking flag of Cardi B. And it's like, yes.
I mean, not to sound stupid, which I am to a certain degree, but I saw the Hawaiian flag for the first time the other day.
Yes.
I had no idea it had the Union Jack.
Yeah, colonialism will do that.
Yeah, no, I got that part the moment I saw it. I'd never
Yeah,
seen the Hawaiian
col-
flag, and it was like,
yeah,
oh,
colonialism will do that. I saw that a lot. I was in Hawaii a few years ago, and it's like, oh, y'all's flag sure is a product of being owned by multiple people.
oh my god.
But yeah, like I'm fascinated by this conversation mostly because of how it impacts everyone. Because it basically turns what could just be a facet of yourself
Mm,
into something that you almost have to defend, like being queer itself. Like it feels like sometimes it feels like all those conversations I had to have when I was in high school about like, yes, I am actually bisexual. No, I'm not just a confused lesbian. And no, I'm not just straight looking for attention.
a moment in time, you had to be there.
Bi erasure discourse is coming back.
I have noticed. Maybe Time Magazine needs to do another issue and just like
Yeah.
reinvent it.
Yeah, because bi erasure discourse is coming back.
But
Why I couldn't tell you.
did it ever truly leave though? Because like I feel like
I think it pretended to go away because remember that like period in the 2010s where like every character on TV was bisexual? Like there was
maybe.
like a weird wave where they were just like throwing bi colors on everyone, even though like they never actually did anything.
Oh, and if they did, they were always women.
Yeah.
Because two
So
girls kissing, that's hot.
yeah, like there was like a brief period in like the late 2010s, early, that where just like every female character was bi, but she really wasn't bi. She was just a lesbian that they said was bi so they could get
Yeah.
brownie points.
Yeah.
Um so it had briefly gone away, and then, like most things, TikTok brought it back because TikTok is obsessed with this like blood quantum thing of like, oh, if you've dated so many men to
Oh,
so many women, you're not actually like we're fucking vampires and you
what
have
is
to.
no? My first thought was the one drop rule. Like,
Yeah,
are we
like
bringing? Wait, what discourse is this?
yeah, like TikTok is obsessed with like blood quantum stuff of like, oh, if you've dated more men than women, then you're not really.
You know, okay, I'm a
Yes,
pansexual,
yes,
and no one knows what that. I mean, it's better,
it's better.
but I have gotten my share of. You know, you don't get as many of the the pan jokes in Norwegian, mostly
Yes,
because our language is different. So it's not like you're attracted to pans, haha. You
but
know,
you
we
get
don't
them
get that
from
one.
me.
Yeah, but I do get the ones that are like people will be like, "What the hell is pan?" and and then I'll be like, "Oh, gender doesn't really matter. I'm just generally attracted to like all kinds of people." And then
Mm-hmm.
inevitably, people will start asking me if that means I am also attracted to trees and animals and children, because pansexuals are attracted to everyone, and
But
therefore
that's no.
no. And also, trees aren't people.
They're
So, so I have to live with that. But like, imagine having like being a bisexual and like constantly like you're a bisexual who isn't, you know, in I don't know. Like, what happens if you've been in a long-term relationship? Are you going to have to be like, "Oh, well, I've been with you now for 10 years, so I have to go and find someone else of a different gender to spend the next 10 years with. I have to even it out or I will lose my
I have to
status as a
flee.
bisexual."
Yeah, yeah. So the bisexual census taker is going to come, and they're going to see that I've been in this relationship for too long. I have to leave so I can get my card in the mail that says that I'm bisexual.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
when you have to like redo like the test to get your driver's license or whatever. Like,
Carla, are you cosplaying or is this just you being fabulous?
no, this is just me.
Yeah,
No, but like,
yeah. You have to take your bisexual test
yeah,
once every
or
few
like, what is
years.
that other thing? Like, oh, like a residency test. Just like,
Yes.
you want to be a bisexual? Okay, well, go
Yeah, it's
into
like
that room and
you have
make
to go
out with
re
all
up.
of those people. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to go re up your bisexuality every couple of years.
I feel like
You can't.
this is the kind of thing that would send my poor character Noah into a spiral because he's a very dumb bisexual. He's very new to it, and if you told him this, he would be like,
You would actually go to a bureaucratic office and be like, "Hello, I'm here to renew my bisexuality, please."
he would be like, "Excuse me, am I gonna have to break up with my boyfriend because like
Yeah,
I'm
he
fed
would
up."
actually he would like show up to like a parliamentary building and be like, "Hello, I'm here to renew my bi license."
He's like, I have now dated my boyfriend for 1 month longer than I dated my ex girlfriend. Does this mean I have to like? How do I balance this out? Am I
Yeah, how
gonna
do I?
lose my card?
Yeah.
He's so dumb, Amanda. He's so stupid. I love him.
I'm so glad that I don't have the energy to fuck with your boys more because I want to.
Oh, they're the best. They are.
I I can't.
I did actually do some writing last night. Can someone please praise me?
I'm praising you.
Thank you.
I
Thank
did some
you.
writing earlier this week.
Yay! But
What did I?
you do more writing than me generally, I think.
Hello,
Hello,
welcome.
welcome.
That is not true.
I think it's true. I think because I feel like I haven't done a lot of writing this year, Amanda.
We're both writers in the sense that we're always saying we're writing, but we're never actually writing.
Yeah, you know that I think it's like a Tumblr post, and there's like someone quoting a child, like a little girl who's like, when I grow up, I want to be a writer, but I don't want to do the actual writing part. And then
Yeah.
the person is like, so she's already a writer.
Yeah.
Hello,
So a writer.
this
Yeah.
I.
Being being a writer is mostly being as obnoxious as you can, setting up to write, only then to get distracted by something else.
Yep.
It's like you build your little like writer fort. And, you
Yeah.
have like you have your drink, you have your snacks, you have hello, welcome. Yes, you are not late.
You're not.
You have your obnoxious drink, you have your snacks, you have, all your little things that you need to focus. And
Yeah.
then like you write like one word and then you're playing games on your phone.
Yeah, and then it's like, you're so ready. You've been hyping yourself all day.
Yes.
It's like you got all your little things. You sit down, you type one word, and your brain goes, "Well, I'm not doing it now."
That's a great you know, good work. And then
And I'm like, "Hello, what is happening?"
yeah, like that's definitely you adjust the thermostat 3 times because it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too cold. You
Can't
get a little
relate.
blanket, you know. Yes, literally. It's like it's too hot. Oh, you need a different snack than
Yeah,
all the snacks that you brought with you. You need a different snack. And oh well, what if I don't want just water? And then you get
yeah,
another drink, and this takes like an hour, and then you finally sit down. You write like a sentence, and then it's like, I'm done.
yeah. And it's like I will do, I will write a sentence, maybe even 3 sentences, and then I'll be
Hmm.
like, okay, I will take a quick break to check Twitter. And then 1 hour later, I
And then,
will
yeah,
write
and then
a
five, and
line.
then 5 hours later, it's like, yeah, I'll do that. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna check Pokemon really fast, and then it's like, oh well,
It's like either I write like a possessed person and I write like,
yes,
10 pages of smut in an hour, or it's like, well, I wrote one line, I'll see you again next week. Goodbye. It's like,
yeah. Like I
there's
wrote a
no,
sentence. See you again in a month or two. But yeah, like
my
I
God.
think I'm fascinated by by being queer. That yes, everything we do is political, but having to like force political action onto everything that we do.
Mm,
Like me reading smut fic in bed on AO3 is not a political action. It's
no.
not. Is there political connotations to it? Sure there is. Like me existing as a brown queer person in America. Yes. But like me reading smut fic is not a one-to-one correlation of how like I'm going to vote in the upcoming election.
Mm,
I hope it's not.
I
I hope
hope not. Unless, of course, you read that fic I mentioned earlier.
I'd never want to read. I already don't like real person
No.
stuff, let
Oh my
alone
God.
that. That sounds
I,
like the most cursed thing I've ever heard.
I'm,
That genuinely sounds so cursed, and it makes me love and hate the internet simultaneously.
again, like, don't yuck anyone's yum, but
I
like
will.
some things are
Some
just
things
better off not being shared. Okay, can we
some
just
things we actually need to take seriously.
I can't. Oh my God. But yeah,
But
but wait, I was thinking. Like,
you were?
yeah, sometimes I do that, but I'm
I
not
know.
very good at it. Case in point. I am a natural blonde. It's the struggle is real. No, but there's a word. I cannot for the life of me remember this word, but it's basically a kind of fatigue that you get as an activist, if you are constantly speaking
Mm,
out against discrimination and racism and homophobia, and like everything, every single conversation you have is political or activist in some way. And you get fatigued, you get exhausted. Like, you are
yeah.
allowed to take a break and just enjoy entertainment for entertainment's sake.
Yeah, like I'm big on that cuz like yeah, simultaneously everything in media is trying to sell or tell you something.
Yeah.
That is true. But also there are plenty of movies that I love more than anything that my brain is not on.
Yeah.
I am not thinking too deeply about the eugenics implications of Kingsman.
And you know, and it's like that fic writer on AO3 isn't necessarily trying to do anything other than, you know, push your horny buttons with, you know, hot men having very graphic sex
Right.
in that fic,
Well,
which is like,
and especially like for fic writers, how much of this is just entirely self-serving to begin
oh
with?
yeah,
Like I like as a fic writer, and I mentioned this at the end of the episode, like I am here to write niche porn that I would want to read, and if other people also like it, that's good. But
mm,
I'm not writing any of this for anyone but me. And if you happen to enjoy it, fantastic, we're friends now. And I'm glad. I'm glad that other people like what I do, but I would be doing this regardless.
yeah. And you know, it's like when I think this is what I think we talked about this in the Patreon episode because we did largely discuss our own writing experiences.
We did.
So I may have mentioned it there, but like again, I label my works as BL because that is the influence that I come
Mm-hmm.
from. Those are the tropes and the conventions that I utilize. And like it makes me so happy when I get feedback when people are out there like telling me that, oh, I really loved how this was written, or I can really
Mm-hmm.
recognize what this character is going through. Like that is really good. But one of the main reasons I wrote this was because this is the kind of angst or smut or, you know, stupidity that I like to read about when I read BL. So I wanted to do my take on it.
Exactly. Just
Yes.
because art can be political, that doesn't mean that a certain fan art of a fictional man one day getting his black blown out is going to make people vote for. Yes, literally that.
Yeah.
Like, I
What
if anyone ever like wrote on my fic like this is the reason why I voted for this candidate, like how did you jump to that conclusion?
I will say that I just realized that the term crusty men has become unanimous in my head to Dabi and Shigaraki. My favorite crusty men.
I don't like thinking about them having sex because I don't think they're
I
an attractive
do.
pairing together. But like the amount you could start a fire between those two just in friction, right?
I know, right? Oh my god.
Like between the staples and the severe eczema, like that's just a lot of it's like just two sandpaper pieces going at it.
Yeah. I was gonna say sandpaper.
Do you have to like squirt lube in between them so they don't fucking combust?
Where if I need someone to do like a commercial for some sort of lotion or like skin treatment and just use Shigaraki as a as like
Just
a
dip him in a just throw him in a jar of Nivea
oh,
and
I
just leave
wanna
him there. Do
wanna
not put
order
him in the jar.
what jar?
Sandpaper, my favorite name of three tax.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to look for that. Let
Do
me
not.
I will! Shut up! I'm doing this for science.
I pray for the U.S. citizen to be sane because I heard the debate was bad.
Yeah,
Hello, I'm a U.S. citizen.
I haven't.
Uh,
Like I said, my Twitter feed is a dumpster fire, so I haven't looked too closely. I live in fear.
so the debate was bad. I don't think it was as abysmal as everyone says it is. Like it was bad on par of these two decrepit old men who have nothing else to do but to insult each other. So like to me it wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't like a I no longer know what party I'm voting for. Like it wasn't like that for me, but I can understand why for some this was like a oh shit.
There are 38 fics that are tagged with sandpaper in some way. The top one that pops up is Aizawa is as smooth as sandpaper.
Ew. The memes are great. Ew. Don't
Uh,
sexualize him.
Fleshlight made with sandpaper. Gojo Satoru is human sandpaper. Dean is smooth as sandpaper. Also, thoughts and prayers to everyone as the archive will be gone and down for 10 hours.
Yes, thoughts and prayers. Download your favorite fix. but don't turn them into a novel without asking the creator first.
If this affects my bedtime stories, I'm gonna be really upset.
Well, I downloaded all my favorite fics, so I can just read them as PDFs.
Yeah, I do that too, but I like to go through the most recent in the past 24 hours in the Kinforge tag and then pick the new ones and then read them as I go to
No,
sleep.
I'm like an
I need
actual child where I'm reading like the same five fics over and over again. I
I
know
mean
what's gonna happen.
I like that too. I do that too.
You're like, I know what's gonna happen. It doesn't matter. It's what brings me comfort and joy. Is the same five fics where I know what's going to go on. But yeah, like if you guys have any questions about the episode, if you want to ask us about anything about how we feel about what we brought up during the episode, we're going to be here for a few more minutes. I had a great time talking about this. I'm even more excited for next month's episode.
I know you are. I am still afraid. Wait, are we recording? I know this, but I don't have my calendar right here. Are we recording?
Yes.
Not we're not recording next weekend, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Good.
I won't even be here.
No, exactly. Because I have a lot of video essays to watch.
Yes, you do.
I
I'm
am.
going to send you an outline tomorrow, but
Oh,
we do not
yay.
record yet. I'm so excited. I'm genuinely. This is going to be our longest episode. I'm
I live
sure
in
of it.
fear. Oh my god. Oh
Oh, this is
my.
going to be so exciting. But yeah, I've had a great time looking at the author intentionality part of it because while I think it's important to discuss the naming conventions and the history of those naming conventions, the recent issue with the author intentionality has been a little bit too big to ignore, and especially how it impacts everyone because let's see Corolla, what video essays are you going to be listening to about Hitalia?
Well, the thing is, since next month is our birth month, and Amanda has decided that we need to talk about Hitalia, which was a fandom that I was never particularly active in, I, thank God, missed out on a lot of the drama. So I am educating myself by listening to a lot of video essays made by people who were there. And
Let's see. Oh,
wow.
one question I've had is BL defined by traditional tropes? I've seen some people insist that it is, while others disagree. But if so, then as it evolves. So I think we both say that we're BL writers because we follow BL tropes. Let's see. As it continues to drop off some of the old problematic tropes, is it still BL? So I think both of us still say that we're BL writers because we follow BL tropes. Especially for me, I would call myself a BL writer because I'm usually mostly interested in the act of gay fictional sex. I'm not
Mm.
really interested in like the romance or anything like that all the time. I'm here for explicitly the porn part of it. So calling me a romance writer feels really disingenuous. There is no romance here, only lube.
But that is good. You have lube. That is.
There's always lube. Like there is no romance here. There is only sex acts in increasingly questionable places.
Mm.
I think as we lose some of the older problematic tropes, which we haven't lost them, they're just recoalescing. They're still there.
They're still there. They still happen.
They still happen.
There's.
But I think it is still very much defined by its tropes, by its style, by its language. I think if you put one of my fics next to Heartstopper, you can tell which one is inspired by BL and which one isn't.
Mm.
If you put like Corolla's novel next to a modern MLM, like you could probably still tell, what is inspired by BL and what isn't. I think it's almost easier to quantify what isn't inspired by BL than what is at this stage because we have lost so many of our key tropes, which were all problematic.
I mean, yeah, I think, first of all, I'm not saying that they don't exist, okay? But very few BLs have all of those tropes and conventions.
Correct.
Like, they
Correct.
normally, like, a lot of the ones that we think about that are typically very BL is like, the characters don't have a defined sexuality, right? It's very
Mhm.
often it can be like I'm straight but I'm gay for you, or I'm, you
Mhm.
know, the gay for you trope, or just like there's no addressing of their sexual identity. They're just like two men who are fucking and who are in love with each other. You know,
Mhm.
you have the typical ukeseme dynamics.
Mhm.
You have uh, power imbalances, age gaps,
Mhm.
like all of these
Mhm.
kinds of like, which you do find in other stories, but it's just like the way that it is very often done in BL, like just like things that, and you know, a lot of them aren't exclusive to BL either, but
No, they're
like
not.
if you look at shoujo, which again BL originates from shoujo, right? You
Mhm.
have things like, say, the kabedon, right? Like, you know, someone slamming their arm on the wall next to you and like entrapping you between their body and like the wall. Like that is not something you very often see in like Western tropes
Yes.
that has the same kind of like kyun effect that it has in.
You did
Hello,
not
welcome.
miss the live. We are still here. And thank you
And
for
you
watching
can.
our other videos.
That is very nice. I hope you're enjoying them.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying our older videos.
I'm like,
I
which
have
one?
to right, which ones? Which ones have you been watching? But like, yeah, to Corolla's point also, I think one of the big things about like what makes something BL versus what makes something like not BL is the air that it's fiction.
Hmm.
Like if someone commented on me in real life, I'm punching them in the neck. Like that is not something that's attractive. They're getting immediate like 1-2. Like that's how that works.
If it's someone I like if
Then
my
yeah, it's fine.
girlfriend comments me, that is perfectly okay.
Yeah, but like
But
if I'm at a convention and a random guy tries to comment on me, he's getting hit in the neck.
yeah,
Like
fair, because that is not
so
true. But
so it's one of those things that like these things are only attractive in fiction, or almost
hmm,
like a lot of the problematic elements are one of those things that like yeah, like if any of this, I think that's one of the reasons why I find problematic discourse so funny is that it's like, well, yeah, of course I wouldn't want a guy that does this because, like, right now it's House of the Dragon, it's Targaryens. Like, oh, the Targaryens are incestuous and they're murderous, and you know, you wouldn't really want a boyfriend like that. Like, of course I wouldn't.
no, but
Of
they're
course
not
I
real.
wouldn't really want a murder incest boyfriend. That's why I like the fictional one on the TV.
He can't hurt you. He's fictional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
I think that's one of the reasons why I love problematic discourse so much. Like, you wouldn't actually want a partner who does this.
no.
Exactly. I wouldn't.
But you know, and it's like I don't know. I'm kind of getting lost in. There are so many things, but yeah, I mean, BL, like everything else, evolves, right? Like genres, and I think I mentioned in the main episode the queer contact zone, or was that in a different episode?
Correct. This is why we separate fiction from reality.
Yeah,
We've talked about the queer contact zone multiple times.
yeah, and the queer contact zone in BL, in the BL aspect is. Back in the 90s, it was described as the queer contact zone, which was the contact zone in magazines specifically, where you would have the same artists and writers and columnists
Mm-hmm.
writing for both BL magazines and magazines aimed at gay men. And you know, you would have a lot of the same artists working for them, writing, you know, making illustrations, making comics, writing
Mm-hmm.
manga. And now, and Dr. Thomas has done a lot of work on this, that, you know, he did some research on this, that gay men in Japan, they tend to just label everything as gay manga. So whether it's
Mm-hmm.
BL or it's gay komi or it's Western
Mm-hmm.
comics, like if it's in manga form and it has queer content, it's gay manga. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like with the evolution of the genre, and as you know, new impulses are coming in, both from the modern world and, you know, impulses culturally from
Mm-hmm.
other places and from,
Mm-hmm.
you know, writers all over the world. BL
Mm-hmm.
is taking on a lot of new shapes and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, you know, it's evolving and expanding on a lot of the old tropes, or
It
throwing
is.
out tropes. But again, like every one story does not have every single trope. So
Yeah, I mean, if they had, if one story had all of those strips, it'd be like unreadable
that
one. Like
would be,
it'd be
I mean, I have read or watched some series where it feels like they are literally trying to like
like a
bingo
checklist.
everything. It's
Yeah.
like, I am gonna put all of these in
What was
here.
that
Like,
one anthology? I think it's Baby Bitch. Feels like that, where they're
oh,
just like trying
baby
to go.
bitch.
I mean, it's a good anthology, but it's like, yeah, it does feel like they're trying to go through like all of the worst possible
I
tropes.
I do admire, BL like mangaka who have like if you look at their body of works, it's like
Yes.
they're doing that, but they're doing it in different volumes. But like if you have like one series where you're just trying to hit all the
Like
tropes,
it's
it's like
unreadable. I mean, like we
please.
talked about this with Nakamura Sensei, where when you try to speed run all of it, hello,
Hello,
you know,
Jimmy.
when you try to speed run all of it, it's fucking unreadable. It's how you get Jano Subete.
And it's like, you can only handle so much because once, your Uke he's been kidnapped.
Yes.
He's been, he's in some sort of weird guardianship situation. He's chained to a bed. He's found out that his seme is actually like his step brother or
Yeah, it's
something.
actually like his cousin or something.
And then some dead ex-boyfriend comes back to life. And it's like, he can only go through so much.
So
Like,
much.
please,
And
can
we
we
as readers can only go through so much before we're just like,
like, please,
I'm done.
I am so stressed. Or but and I mean, of course, now I brought up all the horrible old tropes, but like it's the same with like there are a lot of like good tropes as well. There's your sunshine grump. There's your the senpai kohai, or you have all of those like we recently watched Sasamiya, and like that's where my brain.
Sasamiya.
But yeah, so it's like, but I feel like sometimes now I'm just derailing, but it's like I sometimes think it's so hard to describe the things that are so typically BL, which is funny because I know them so well, and it's like you don't find them, but it's just
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm so used to it, and comparatively, I haven't historically consumed a lot of Western queer media.
Yeah, it is.
I do a lot more now, but like
At this stage, it is like an old lover where it's like you just know.
mm,
You might not be able to explain everything in
yeah.
detail, but like you just know, like it has a different mouth feel. Like you can
Mm.
just tell.
And it's like what I said, in the Patreon episode as well, that, BL for many is a fantasy. Like even
Yes.
though the origins are, political and feminist, it's,
It was also not my cup of tea.
I mean, I like it. It's not my favorite. I mean, but yeah, no, I think what was I? Like it has origins in feminism and in like reclaiming
Mhm.
sexuality or whatever. But it also is a fantasy, and for a lot of older research and older like mangaka have described that the boys
Mhm.
of BL in many ways aren't even like no, they're not supposed to. Oh, lucky you!
Lucky
He's
you. I'd love
so good.
Dr. Thomas
All
is
of his
so
work,
good.
so good. That man is out there just doing the most for our
He
community.
he
I love
really
that
is.
man. He's fantastic. No,
We need to,
and what?
I was gonna say we need to send him another gift.
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. When he's back from the Philippines, I
Yeah.
guess.
From like single-handedly ensuring that Thailand gets marriage equality.
Yeah, I mean, he's just out there doing all the work. But yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot of the time BL boys were described as essentially being like a third gender, like as a third,
Yes.
like because they have both the qualities of the male and female characters and character tropes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so BL to this day still carries with it a lot of that which is what I am getting at that I was saying in the Patreon episode, that I can absolutely touch upon like real life issues and political issues even in my
Mhm.
novels, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day it's still BL, so I am allowing myself the leniency to let them be silly, to let them
Yes.
resolve. Like sometimes I'm like, am I letting him off the hook a little too easily from this conflict? But then I'm
And
like,
it's like,
no,
so
because it's
what?
BL. It's allowed to be lighthearted. It's allowed to be
Exactly. Like
like
it's you are allowed space and be out because like I deal with this being African American and being queer that like every black story is slavery 2.0.
good lord.
Every black story is just struggle. And
God
while the
forbid you just
struggle,
get like
right,
a
and while the struggle is still there, like I'm not here to say like, oh, everything was fine, Obama was president, everything's great, but not every black story needs to be centered
Mhm.
on the struggle. Not every queer story needs to be centered on the struggle. I think that's one of the reasons why so many like early readers ended up being queer is that we had assumed we didn't like queer stories because they were all trudgery and hate crimes. And while those are things that happen, it was nice to have a story where everything was just fine for a little bit and that it didn't matter, or like even some like the really really out there like early 2000s like Utopia series where like this is a world where every man is gay, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, very good. I would love to see Dr. Thomas lecture in real life.
I would love to.
We should have him on the show again.
We should. I mean, I'm sure we can find something to to squeeze them on. Just like let's that poor man. We did agree to let him rest until he's done with his
We
current
did.
research.
I love that like we were discussing this, like we have him like under a contract somewhere, like this is Black Butler, or like
Yes,
somewhere
my
somewhere.
goal is to just be like, we're back with Dr. Thomas, friend of the show. You know, like that.
Oh god, I would love that.
That's what I want.
Yeah, regularly returning guest of the show, Dr. Thomas. I
Oh my
love
god.
that. Don't tell him we said that, or tell him we said that because we'd love to have him back on the show.
For all we know, he's listening. Are you
Yeah,
listening? Help.
help us. Uh, I want to go to
Oh yeah.
BlushCon. I want to
wanna
go. I want to go to a con with Corolla, but Corolla won't travel.
Why can't you travel?
I said if your convention paid for me to go, I'd go.
Yeah, well, my convention is we're not rich. You know, we'll sponsor your hotel room, but the flight from the US is going to be a little tricky.
That's Corolla's very far away.
It's like we don't have a venue this year because we prioritize flying in some guests from the US. So we have some cool guests, but we don't have a venue because we had
It's
to say
like we don't have a venue, but we do have this one cool person.
we'll just put you like we'll set up a table outside somewhere. We can be in the new TanaCon and just
Yes.
like have it in the parking
Just
lot.
have it in a parking lot, and it's just like one random American.
The worst
It's
part
like-
is I don't even think we would be allowed to stay because like someone would probably be like, "Excuse me, this parking lot is private property, belongs to the state. Get the hell away."
Yeah, like there would need to be. Oh my goodness gracious! But yeah, like let's see. Growing up, Yaoi was where I got my romance and fantastical depictions, gay relationships from, while novels and memoirs were where I got more realistic depictions.
Yeah,
Exactly, they fulfill
exactly.
different needs. Exactly, like so. Like I don't really like historical fiction very much, but when I was younger, I don't like it a lot. But when I was younger, I really liked. There were a couple of historical fiction books about like Queen Anne Boleyn and stuff like that that I really liked because, of course, I'm an Anne Boleyn girly.
Of course you are.
Of course, I'm an Anne Boleyn girly. And I really liked those, or like the Royal Diaries. I loved those when I was a kid.
I haven't read those.
Oh my god, you'd love Royal Diaries. And it's like, yeah, like I'm not going to Royal Diaries for history. That's not why I'm here. I have other books about these people for history. They fulfill different needs. Like I think that's also yes.
Yeah, and again, like you can absolutely get both from both sides, right? Because you have like even in older BL. I remember when we were talking about vintage BL or like old school BL titles. I was talking about Tomo, and of course now I can't for the life of me remember the name of the mangaka, but that one, you know, it's set in the 80s and depicts, you know, homophobia and AIDS, you know, and is a manga and is a BL manga, but absolutely deals with these very, very
real topics.
And then, you know, in more modern BL, you know, you have stories like, you know, like I Hear the Sunspot, just
Hmm.
which is this really, really sweet romance story, but
Hmm.
still deals with, like one of the protagonists has a disability, he's deaf, and you have like When We Gazed Upon the Starry Sky, you have a protagonist in a wheelchair, you have all
Yeah.
of these modern BLs that are labeled BL that
Hmm.
that deal with things like gender identity and sexuality and issues that surround that and the difficulties that that person faces while still also being sweet and silly or like having
Hmm.
sex scenes and like balancing it. But
Right.
yeah, those things fulfill different needs, and
Exactly.
I think that that is so important to be aware of, that and like not everyone likes everything. Like, what if you
Hmm.
just wanna like chill and you know read it's like you like rom-coms. That doesn't mean that you don't like, I was going to say horror movies. No, but because if you like rom-coms, you probably like horror movies because there's a lot of stalking. But
There's
but
so much
so
stalking.
much stalking. But like rom-coms, and exactly, like you can, if you like Love Actually and think it's a sweet and funny movie, then good for you, I guess. Couldn't be me. But
Yeah, like I think
I my mom is able to watch these movies and just be like, "Oh, I thought that was enjoyable," and I'm over here like
exactly. And like we have to
analyzing the
walk
fuck
away
out
from
of
it. Like your mom isn't pestering your dad to do the things in the movie.
and my mom isn't sitting there like me, like taking notes over every misogynistic thing that happened in the entire
Right.
film and
Like
then
you
being like,
can I think one of the things that's so frustrating about this conversation is that it denies people multitudes.
hmm,
Like all of these and some of these things can be true at the same time. Like I am the first person to talk about how every movie is trying to sell or tell you something while also unironically saying I love the Kingsman trilogy.
yeah,
Like I can say both of those things
mm-hmm,
at the same time. I can tell how important comic books are as a means of expression, especially for marginalized people, but then also say how Zack Snyder uses them almost explicitly for white nationalist fascist purposes. Both can be true.
yeah, and
Like
it's
two things can be true at once.
exactly. And going back to in the main episode, you were talking about infighting,
Oh,
and
infighting.
I think that, I mean, maybe it's not really infighting when it's basically two groups pitted against each other, where like one is
Yes.
like, you are all horrible fetishistic, you
Mm-hmm.
know, yellow fever Asian people, and the other half is like, oh, but you're all self-righteous,
Mm-hmm.
pure, like Puritans, like
Mm-hmm.
that. Those are two very extreme factions and two very extreme depictions of those factions.
Mm-hmm.
But what ultimately happens is that if you are going to criticize someone for consuming gay content in the wrong way, or for
Mm-hmm.
producing content in the wrong way, or it's not representative enough, or it's representative in the wrong way, or it's
Mm-hmm.
representative of the wrong things, and then you spread misinformation to your thousands of readers, and then that only ends up hurting the cause more. We
Exactly.
shouldn't be infighting, we should be
Yes.
fighting for the same thing, which is
Exactly.
visibility.
Yeah. But exactly, people seem to think that we can only be one thing, and we're all multidimensional. We
Yeah,
all contain multitudes. Even people we don't like
yeah.
contain multitudes. But it's true exactly. Like the most frustrating thing to me, we're on the last day of Pride. You know, the infighting I think is what's so damaging is that
Mm,
especially as queer people, we spend so much time policing each other that
yeah.
there are tangible threats to our safety, security, and livelihoods, but we're busy yelling at each other because of a romance book.
Hmm.
That's a problem. And I say
That is,
we collectively, not
yeah.
like, I mean, clearly Curl and I aren't in that argument.
I mean, we do argue with each other sometimes
We do occasionally.
about the same gay books.
Listen, one of us is right and one of us isn't.
I
And
know.
who is
I'm
right? Yeah, and who
very,
is right
very
depends
aware
on
of
the day.
who is right in this conversation.
I'm also, it's unfortunate that that's not you.
That's what you like to think, but I
It's
believe that I actually have the
it's
upper hand in this conversation.
it's really unfortunate that that's not you in this instance. I hate that for you.
No, you say that, but I think you're just trying to save face. I know. I know that you know. But
It's like all of us are very complex.
yeah,
Why do you
I
fight like an old married couple?
that's what happens. I mean, this is an arranged marriage.
This is an arranged marriage. This
We
is
clearly, there were a lot of things that weren't ironed out before this wedding happened, and
no. Actually, there were zero negotiations.
there wasn't
We
even
were
a dowry. And honestly,
yeah, no one paid for
at least
anyone.
at least one of us should have received a goat, I feel.
I did receive a goat.
But yeah, but did you get it from the con
No,
that
I got
set
it
us
from
up?
you.
No, exactly. They should have. Yes, I gave the goat.
You gave me a goat.
Because goats are actually straw goats are a very important part of
They
our
are.
relationship.
They are. They're a foundational part of our relationship. The discussions around bad representation is frustrating at times because it seems like the person saying that the representation doesn't reflect your existence, maybe it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like I cannot stand the this is bad representation. It's like to who?
yeah.
To who? Because
We
this is
all
great representation for someone.
we all have such vast and varied experiences and backgrounds, and
Right.
like, okay, so maybe it's not representative for you. And like a lot of the times, parts of it can be representative, to you, but not
Yeah.
all of it. You can feel like some of it is almost written about you, and then be completely like, this has nothing to do with me with the rest of the series.
Watching BoJack Horseman. There are parts of BoJack that it's like, could you at least send me a residuals check if you're going to write this about me and my family? There are
I
parts of BoJack that 100% just feel like I would at least like a check if
I
you're going
was
to listen my life.
the most recent fictional character that I felt very in touch with was the other day. I was rewatching the Dungeons and Dragons movie with my friends
Yes.
because one of my friends hadn't seen it. And you know that one skeleton? Like they're asking the skeleton questions, and then they're like asking a mathematical question, and the skeleton is like, I'm not very good at math. And then is also asked, what's your favorite book? And they are just like, oh, that's a hard one. And I'm like, I am feeling so attacked right now. It's like, can't do math, can't pick a favorite book. Oh, hi. Tis I.
Literally me watching Hell of a Boss. It's like, I didn't want to be Blitz. I didn't want this for myself.
I love Blitz.
Why is that me?
It's
Why are
fun.
these the fights I had with my ex? I don't like this. I didn't want to be Blitz at all.
Sometimes the character chooses you,
Vox.
and it's just like, and sometimes you're just like, I am in this show, and
And I don't like it.
I did not approve of this. Who is using my likeness?
I did not approve of my likeness being used in the show. But I'm so excited to talk about Hitalia next month with Corolla.
Oh my god.
And Corolla is suffering.
Oh my god, there were so many things that I had only heard about. Like, I've heard the legends, and now that I am like looking them up, it is so much worse.
Oh yeah, like the multiple instances of Prussia and Germany cosplayers dressing up at Auschwitz.
Oh,
The multiple incidences. Um
I can't. There are so many things. I just,
Hitalia is a fever dream.
and
Yeah,
it's still going.
it is still going. Yeah, the fact that most Prussia cosplayers are in fact wearing Nazi uniforms and they just don't know it.
It's hard.
The rewriting of racism between Japan and China.
but I am learning so much. I'm trying to save it for the actual episode. I have so many notes already
Mm-hmm.
because I am learning things, Amanda, that I did not know. And
Oh,
I
I
have some
can't wait.
questions.
And I have answers. I am so excited. Uh, it'll be a great way to celebrate our birth month. If you would like to support us during our birth month, you can do so by joining us over at patreon.com/the Yaoi Shelf, where patrons get exclusive merch, um, exclusive videos, and a lot of other really, really interesting little side tidbits. not me, not me used to being a tall fan as a kid. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. And
mm,
it's just because the thing is, and that's one of the things, isn't it? Because it looks so innocent. And like
yep,
at face value, oh, yonkoma gag manga kinda. And then
yeah,
it's like, oh wait,
this is
that's
bad.
Nazi Germany.
Yeah, these are war crimes that we're laughing about.
My brain just decided to go, you know, Maiden Rose.
Yes.
Isn't Klaus basically like, doesn't he look a lot like Germany? Like, isn't it
No.
just, it's Italy and Germany, but it's
No, that is not true.
no?
Taki looks a lot like Japan.
And
Klaus,
that's because Japan is supposed to be like the
yes.
he's just yeah.
Klaus does not look like Germany at all. One, Klaus is much bigger in every facet of the word.
He's a big man.
Klaus is a big man. Um,
I
I
haven't
was
seen
too
Maiden Rose in
enthusiastic.
so long.
Let's watch it together.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
Do you know what we did for our anniversary?
What'd you do for your anniversary?
We had dinner and then we watched The Fall Guy, which was nice.
Yes.
And then we decided to because we have this tradition of like watching stuff that, like old school anime and things, and like AMV hell, because that's what we did the
Oh my
weekend we
God.
spent when we got together. So we decided to end our anniversary by watching Boku no Sexual Harassment.
Why do you hate yourself and your partner?
I don't know. And I just didn't realize how much of it I'd forgotten. Because like I remember there's that one scene, and it was in many ways so much worse. And so much better than I remembered. But it was just like
It's not.
it was
It's
yeah. So, because we just yeah, that is the
yes.
one with
Yes,
the
it is.
corn.
It's the one with the corn.
And I was like, you know what? Let's just watch it. And we watched it, and it was something. I don't know why this is a thing we do for our anniversary, but we always like pull out some old school what the fuck ever thing. Yes, Vivi. Yes.
Yeah,
Corn.
yes.
Again,
Corn.
we were
No.
No, but I can't remember if we talked about this on the Patreon stream or if this was a conversation between us in private. But when I say that when kids on the internet today are using TikTok speak to prevent themselves from getting
This is
demonetized,
Patreon.
yeah, and they say corn instead of porn,
Actual, yeah.
for those of us who were there, what that does to our brain when I hear a content creator saying the word corn,
Yeah,
I
it's
am.
Boku no sexual harassment.
I see things that I wish I could unsee.
Why are we
Yeah,
like this?
because we were subjected to this. Because again, and I will say this until the day that I die, we didn't have a lot. Okay, we had to accept the BL that was available, and the BL that was available was questionable at best. And the things we have seen.
Why were we suffering like this?
There are some things that just
But yes, with July being our birth month, it's a great time to join Patreon so you can get exclusive videos. July is going to be a little bit busy for us because I might have a convention in July.
Ooh, lucky
Um,
you.
I might. We don't know yet. I'm trying to hammer that out as soon as possible. Uh,
Excuse me?
my mom's gotten way too familiar with the terms mouthfeel and cornhole. It's ruined my life. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, that'd ruin my life as well. Uh, but I'm excited for July. I'm excited to talk about Hitalia. I feel like we've danced around it a lot, and it's important to kind of like, I don't know,
You've danced around it like it's the fucking Goya painting. That's
that's what it
you.
is. That's the true Goya painting. It isn't Omega Verse. It's Hitalia. Uh, because when I go back and think about Hitalia, it's always weirder than I remember.
Mm.
It's like, oh yeah, that thing that we thought was totally normal, it wasn't, and it like reshaped brains and minds, and it's why watching the news is still hilarious to me.
There will always be some things that are just like, hmm.
Yep. There's characters' names that I remember where I should be remembering people's names. There are birthdays that I remember that I shouldn't be remembering.
Yeah. I mean, you were in deep.
Fuck off.
I just have. I mean, I think a relatively normal approach to everything, but so I feel like my soft spot for Poland and Lithuania has caused some problems sometimes in my processing skills.
They're cute together,
They're very cute together. And
except
then
for when Poland sold Lithuania to Russia.
Poland and his pony.
He does have a pony.
There's always the thing is I can't remember why that was so funny, but there was like a whole thing about Poland and his pony. And
Oh, don't worry, we'll go into it.
I can't remember why it was funny, but I still remember it fondly. But
Yeah. Thank
so
you
yeah,
guys so
that's
much for
gonna be
spending
wild.
time with us.
Thank you for joining.
We appreciate you and thank you for listening. I cannot wait for next month. And happy Pride and stay safe.
Stay safe. Stay
Just
sane.
stay sane. Enjoy your little, what brings you joy, as long as you're not hurting anyone that doesn't want to be
Mhm.
hurt. Enjoy the things that you enjoy. Life is short and uncertain.
Read
Do what
Yaoi.
makes you happy. Read, yeah. Life is short and uncertain. Read Yaoi. Take care of yourselves.
Yes, please.
Bye.
Bye.